Good morning. My name is Conrad Heyns. I am the director at the Centre for Academic Language and Literacies at Goldsmiths, which is part of the University of London. I'm also currently the chair of the BALEAP Accreditation Scheme, and I am the incoming chair of the BALEAP organization. So in today's presentation, I'm going to talk to you about BALEAP and about BAS, which is the BALEAP Accreditation Scheme. And I hope to cover a short history of the BALEAP organization that in fact turns 50 in 2022, next year. Talk about benefits of BALEAP membership, also benefits of accreditation. Talk in particular about the BALEAP accreditation scheme and explain how the scheme has changed over the years. In fact, the scheme is 30 years old this year. And we are keen to embrace a more global view of English for academic purposes and look at different contexts the world over. I also want to introduce the TEAP scheme, which is really teaching EAP. And this is an individual accreditation scheme. And then also outline the need to become a more global community, which I think throughout the presentation, you will get a feeling for that. We are keen to become a more global community. So first up, BALEAP. This is the global forum for EAP professionals. There are three sort of key dates that I want to talk about. One is 1972, and that was the date that the original BALEAP was founded. It was called SALMUS then. The acronym stands for Special English Language Materials for Overseas University Students. It changed its name in 1989 to the British Association of Lecturers in English for Academic Purposes. And then in 2010, it changed its name yet again in the sense that we dropped the full name and just kept the acronym BALEAP. Part of that was to, as I said, embrace a more global community and drop the British Association. So those are the three key dates. The aims of BALEAP, the association, is really to support the professional development of those involved in learning, teaching, scholarship, and research in English for academic purposes. So it's to enhance the quality of English for academic purposes in learning, teaching institutions, and also further and higher education institutions. And it's there to support the professional development of those involved in learning, teaching, scholarship, and research. It's to provide an accreditation scheme for tutors or teachers in EAP. That's the individual TEAP scheme, but then also to provide an accreditation scheme for EAP courses, and that's the BAS scheme. But it's also there to promote and disseminate understanding of EAP in its various contexts, and then associated research. And we do this through a variety of means. We have biennial conferences, and we have one-day professional interest meetings called PIMS, and we also have special interest groups, and they organize various events throughout the year, including webinars. We also do a lot of publication of research and conference presentations, and we focus on statements of good practice, such as the teacher competencies that are part of the TEAP scheme, and then guidelines for testing, as well as providing various other resources on the website. So the benefits, as mentioned, really is the whole idea of being able to attend conferences, exchange knowledge and expertise, attend professional interest meetings. These are usually run by individual universities. They are one-day conferences with a particular theme. Very interesting. We have run a PIM abroad and we'd like to do more of that. We also have these special interest groups, and that's quite new actually for BALEAP. And the idea of them is that a group of EAP professionals and practitioners will get together and focus on a particular area of interest. So it might be testing and assessment, it might be creative disciplines, it might be about social justice. Very interesting. And they organize a lot of events throughout the year. And of course, if you're a member, then you have access to these PIMs and SIGs. There's also a discussion list, which I find very useful. So it's an internal membership email list, really. And you can pose questions, you can start discussions, you can ask for support, you can ask for guidance. It's proved to be really, really interesting with a lot of different threads that come through over the last couple of years. So members have access to the JISC mail as well. There's a journal for academic purposes, and this gets sent to all institutions that belong to BALEAP, with, once again, interesting research articles. Of course, if you're a member, then you could go for BAS accreditation, or if you are interested, the individual accreditation. So you have access to those two different accreditation schemes as well. The website itself is very useful and has a great deal of resources on it. It's also a place where one can advertise for jobs. So the website itself is a useful resource. And then probably finally, there are the executive roles. So there's an executive committee, and these roles change, and we draw on our membership to fill those particular roles. So as you can see, there are a number of benefits of BAS membership. Now, rather BALEAP membership. But so moving on to BAS, the BALEAP Accreditation Scheme. This scheme is focused on basically quality assurance within a university, focusing on particular courses. Here in the UK, it tends to be the summer pre-sessional courses, but we also accredit foundation courses, graduate diploma courses, and in-sessional courses that are run throughout the year to support students that are already on their particular discipline courses. Once again, 3 dates. It started in 1991, the BAS scheme, and that was the first iteration of the BAS accreditation scheme. Back then, there were 8 sections to accreditation with something like 81 criteria. So you can see quite a lot of criteria. In 2014, it was decided that the scheme needed to be more higher education appropriate, sort of tying in with external examiner and review systems that were already in place in universities. And what happened, it was reduced from 5 categories and to 44 criteria. And then again, in the last couple of years, really, and it will be launched next year, we're changing the scheme yet again. And this time, it's really to embrace the fact that EAP can be quite different in different contexts. I think with the growth of international numbers in the UK, and also the growth of transnational education with campuses abroad, this has become more evident. And we are keen for BALEAP to grow as a global forum. So the revised scheme has core principles that focus on language as content related to particular disciplines. So perhaps more specific rather than general. We also realize that EAP pedagogy has moved on a bit from communicative language teaching to a more academic purpose focus. And so EAP has inherently become more contextualized. So therefore, the new scheme, in fact, looks at two broad areas. One area is leadership and administration, and the second area is looking actually at the program, its content, how it's delivered, how it's assessed. And with the program, we are particularly interested in the sort of constructive alignment of these elements of the course. So going down once again from 44 criteria to a total of 20 criteria. But what is going to be really important here is the context document that these centers or the institutions will need to complete. Because when we talk about academic purposes, we ask the question, for what purpose and whose purpose? And it might be very different in different contexts. In the UK, it tends to be pre-sessional summer courses, preparation courses for main courses, and then the continuing in-sessional help that is provided by language centers to students throughout their time at university. Whereas abroad, it might be more of a focus on English as a medium of instruction. And this happens in many countries, including Taiwan. So really important and central to the new scheme is going to be this accreditation context document, where centers or institutions will need to contextualize their EAP provision and talk about their collaborations they might have, what influences them, and what impact they have within their particular centers. And we will also look at the principles underlying their particular approach to teaching and assessment and English for academic purposes. So once again, the aim of BAS is really to look at quality assurance. Quality assurance that will benefit the units themselves, that will benefit the teachers working there, and ultimately benefit the students who are taking courses in those institutions and centers. So looking at benefits, instead of just going through a list of benefits, what I thought I might do is actually show you a number of quotes from people. So the first one here is looking at the benefit for the actual EAP unit. This is the director of Manchester University Language Centre, and which is probably the largest centre or university in the UK, and it has an enormous number of international students. And he said here that he feels it's the only accreditation scheme that truly reflects what we do as EAP tutors and practitioners. We see it as a scheme designed to focus on teaching quality, the efficacy of particular courses, how good are they really, how sound are they, and how well do they prepare students for university, and then the thinking behind curriculum design. This focus, rather than paperwork and the processes, means that it has unique strengths and relevance. So that's for the EAP unit. But what about for teachers? So this is a coordinator here at Goldsmiths. We went through our accreditation a few years ago. In fact, our next accreditation is next year. The accreditation period is a 4-year period. And he says, as pre-sessional coordinator, I feel that BALEAP Accreditation offered us a number of opportunities. Firstly, it was a chance to look at our teaching, our materials, our course design, and to ensure that we were up to date and at the forefront of best practice. The process also provided us with invaluable feedback to ensure that our institution continues to develop. And I must say, being at the Goldsmith Centre, the feedback we got from the inspection itself or the assessment was invaluable. And it's really helped to improve what we do on our courses here within the centre where I work. So how does it impact students? So this, I actually sent out a survey across the membership to ask them what they thought were the benefits for students. And I'm just highlighting one here, which I quite like. And this was from a UK EAP tutor. Overall, a visit like this aims to help improve the course being assessed, and in so doing, help students to be better prepared, not only for higher education in the UK in general, but also for their specific disciplines. So that's what they see as the value in it for students. So I'd like to move on just to talk briefly about the TEAP scheme. So this is teachers really who teach EAP, and this is the individual accreditation scheme. What is it? The TEAP scheme is an individual accreditation scheme, and it encourages and recognizes the continuing professional development of individual BALEAP members, tutors who are interested. It's portfolio based, so they build up a portfolio of work, and it's appropriate for all EAP tutors, whether they're at the beginning of their EAP journey or whether they're already in positions of management, so senior tutors. So whether they have 3 months experience or 3 decades of experience. There are 3 TEAP pathways, and we call them, there's the associate fellow, so new to EAP perhaps, the fellow, more experienced, and then the senior fellow, very experienced. The senior fellow pathway also has an optional component to become a TEAP mentor and assessor, which in turn has implications of sustainability by the idea of training others. So the TEAP mentor and assessor can help others on their journey in turn. Successful participants in this TEAP scheme need to demonstrate competence in various areas of professional practice. They do so by writing a piece of writing and by building up a portfolio of evidence to support their claims. Now there's a very interesting document here, the TEAP competency framework, and I've provided a link which you can have a look at later, and then various TEAP resources to help EAP tutors in achieving what they want to with this particular individual accreditation scheme. Once again, benefits. So I've quoted 2 people here. Jane is a senior fellow. She's also a TEAP mentor and assessor, so she helps others. She says, reflecting on practice gave me a sense of achievement and opened up new avenues of learning, which I continue to explore. So this idea of continuing to improve. And then Walter wrote, creating a portfolio of evidence was an extremely rewarding process that allowed me to take stock of my current practices and identify areas of expertise. It is also a very practical roadmap, as I now have a much clearer ideas of the next stage of my professional development. So identifying strengths, but at the same time, areas that for improvement. So ongoing once again. So my key concluding points really here is that BALEAP membership has tangible benefits that will be useful not only to Taiwanese higher education institutions and individual tutors, but also it will be a benefit to us because there'll be an exchange of ideas and expertise. At the same time, BAS and TEAP accreditation can provide ongoing teacher development opportunities and international recognition. And ultimately, it will foster meaningful and long-term cooperation between Taiwanese and UK institutions. I provided the BALEAP link, so if people want to have a look at that. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much indeed. If you would like to be in contact with me, I've provided my email address there as well. Many thanks.